my esteemed viewers and followers. Welcome yet again to my YouTube channel presentation, and today we are going to continue with what I started previously on how to handle or how to attend a formal interview effectively by giving it your all, by giving it everything that it deserves, that will eventually make the interview panel make you the most qualified person, or to realize that you are one person who truly deserves this particular job. And if you can remember, previously we were looking at some of the questions, the tricky questions that the panel can ask in a formal interview, and we did look at them into details and how you should be able to respond to them. Remember, an interview is not taken for granted. Being shortlisted for an interview is quite a big thing to the interviewee. Now, today we are going to start off right from what I would call surprise questions. In an interview, a formal interview for that matter, expect what I would call surprise questions. Surprise questions are questions that you least expect to be asked in an interview. One of them can come from your academic credentials. Have you heard of people questioning academic credentials? They can be talking about your qualifications. Second one can be all about your background, particularly if this particular company has done a bit of research about you to find out your former employer, your character, your achievements in the previous companies you've worked in. So that you expect any questions, whether you are able to handle yourself well with decorum, dignity, while you are at the helm of a particular job description, and whether you are able to resolve the conflicts or disputes well if you were tasked with such kind of a challenge, and whether you are just, whether you are handling issues with justice for that matter, so expect some kind of surprise questions. And then number 3, expect personal questions. You can be asked, maybe you are indicated in your CV that you are married, or you are separated, or you are divorced, or you are single. Assume you are single and you are 40 years. You can be asked a simple question like why have you not married? That question is very, very personal. But expect such kind of questions. They can even ask you, why did you divorce? Those are personal questions. But when such kind of questions are asked, they may look intimidating. These questions are testing on your emotion, how to handle your emotions. I know at some point people break during the interview, they shed tears because some questions may remind you of past memories that you really would not want to be reminded about. Some are bad memories. So some questions can trigger some kind of emotions. So they're also testing on how to contain your emotions. Are you able to contain your emotions if you are asked particular questions? And some questions can be very, very intimidating. Yeah. You may be having dreadlocks, or you may be having studs, and yet you are a man. So somebody can base their question on the same. So those kind of surprise questions, expect them and handle them with lots of care. And actually, if you find an intimidating question, or if you find a personal question, just excuse yourself from answering it. Just let the panel know that, I feel it is personal, and I wouldn't wish to respond to that question here. The panel will be able to understand that. All right? Having mentioned that, now I want you to come with me as I take you through some of the do's and don'ts in the interview. Number 1, maintain eye contact. Ensure that you look straight at the person who is talking to you, at the person who is asking you questions. That is a sense that you are part of the question being asked. It is a sense that you are listening. It's a sense that you are understanding the question, and it's a sense of respect. So ensure that you focus and look at the person straight. You may occasionally nod your head, that is to show that you are keenly listening. So focus and look at the person asking you the question. And number two, one thing that you need to avoid is uh, fidgeting or crossing your arms, or feeling of nervousness and rolling your fingers, doing all those manner of things. Not very much important. Then number two, it is also important that you be very brief when answering questions. When a question has been posed to you, do not expound on it. Do not go so much into elaborations and illustrations so much. Be brief and precise with the responses that you are giving. And number three, ensure that occasionally you can be able to use gestures. Gestures are meant to put some emphasis, the facial expressions when you are expressing yourself in a humble way and all that. So you can occasionally be using your fingers to make those gestures to hammer in that information out of the response that you are giving. And then number four, ensure that if the question is not very clear, ask the questioner to repeat the question so to get it right. Yeah, it is important. And number four, if you're not sure of the question but you wish to attempt it, let them know that, well, I'm not very sure, but let me attempt to answer your question or to respond to your question. Do not try to answer a question that you are not very sure of the response without letting them know that, and if you are not completely sure of the question, just let them know that, well, it's a tricky question. I don't have any idea about it. I'm sorry, I do not have a clue about the question. They'll go to another question. It is important to be that honest, and it carries a lot of weight in it. And then number five, it is important that you occasionally appreciate the question that you've been asked. But you can be able to, say, good question, it's a tricky question, but or thank you for that question. It means that you are very, very much into the interview. You appreciate the questioner. You appreciate the question. Yeah. Then another one, which is the sixth one, is that you should remember to switch off your mobile phone to avoid any interruptions during the interview process. Just switch it off completely. Then number 8 is to be persistent with your responses. Number 9, if you are offered a glass of water, kindly feel free to take that glass of water, sip it a bit. Some questions can be draining and dehydrating. Feel free to take a sip of glass of water. And by the way, the trick in taking a sip of glass of water, some questions can be very tricky. And by the time you are taking that sip of glass of water, it gives you also an opportunity to think very fast. And by the time you are done with those few seconds of taking that sip of glass of water, by the time you are done, you shall have thought very fast. The panelists may not be able to know, why you are taking those few seconds to take, but in the taking of the water, engage your mind. And it also helps you in easing the pressure that maybe may have developed within you and such that. So it is important to at least take a glass of water. Then another very important thing is that you should be able to use a pen or paper. Maybe you may be provided with, or just have somewhere to note down a few important matters concerning a question being asked. Because some questions can be illustrative, some questions can be long and elusive, such that if you don't put down or jot down a few important aspects of that question, you may not remember, and it is not very right to keep on asking, I hope I've answered your question, or did I leave anything unanswered, or I didn't get the second part of your question, or something like that. So you may have a pen to maybe just jot down a few things in the question that are pertinent that you would want to respond to. And that was 9, of course. 10, remember to know the terms and conditions of the job that you are applying for, so that when you are taking up the job, should you qualify, then you know what you are going into. A few things that you also need to consider is that you need to answer the questions from the first person singular point of view. In this kind of incident, you should be able to use first person pronoun. Okay, you should say I. Yeah, I. For instance, common phrases during your response can be I believe that, I am optimistic that, I trust that, I have no doubt that, I am capable of, I can assure you that, I hope that, I want to, how to express, among very many other phrases that you may use during that particular time. And now, at the end of the interview, let me bring you to the end of the interview. Remember, in my first presentation, I told you to master the names of a few panel members, if not all, and maybe their title. Now, this is the most important part of the interview at the same time. Of course, they will ask you whether you have any question. During this particular time, if you are asked, do you have any question? Or do you have something to say? Now, this is the best time to appreciate the panelists. You can now tell them, okay, thank you, the chairman, Mr. Karaoke. It was a wonderful experience. I feel that I've really learned a lot, and I'm very optimistic that I'm equal to the task. Thank you very much, Madam Jane, the senior HR. I'm very humbled. I feel happy to have been invited here. Thank you very much, the secretary. At least mention a few names if you can remember. Now, that is a sense of listening. They will appreciate that, so you can remember a few names even though you are meeting them for the first time and they said their names only once. It means that you are wise and keen listener. Then, at the end of it, try to be brief with your closing remarks. Do not be so much expansive. Do not also try to ask unrelated or irrelevant questions during this particular time. You may be given freedom to ask questions, but be very keen because you may ask questions that will water out every gains that you have made during the whole process of your interview. And then the third one, just give them an assurance that, should I be offered this job, I promise to give my best to this company. If you know maybe a bit of the background of the company, how the company is doing very well and all that, appreciate the fact that I know I've done a lot of research and this is one company that I really want to associate myself with because I know where it stands in terms of financial progress, what achievements, etc. So I want to be part of it. So give them some that kind of assurance. And apart from that, I want to take you to a very important component now. That is on your salary. Remember, everybody else is applying for a job in order to earn some money. Salary is a big thing here because it's going to make or break. How do you begin about your salary? First, remember what I said, that you must have done a few research concerning the you need to go to the market and find out about this job that you are applying for. What is the value of this job outside there? And then after knowing the value of that job, know your value, know what you are worth. That is the second thing. Know what you are worth. And knowing what you are worth means that forget about what your predecessor was earning. Remember, somebody was sitting in that position before. Forget about what that person was earning. Come with your worth. Yeah? Come with your worth. Come with your experience. Come with your qualifications. Come with your achievements. Those are the things that you should base your bargaining on. And remember, number three, don't fear to compromise. Sometimes you may be forced to compromise, maybe because you are jobless, you are really looking for a job, or this job may not be well paying like your previous job. Maybe from your previous company you suffered a sacking, or you suffered a bit of a retrenchment, or whichever, so anything could have happened. But then you have got the only job right now, and this is what you can consider as of now. Don't hesitate to compromise. It may not be your quality, it may not be the best to match your expectations, but if need be, just compromise and arrive somewhere, and then do your best to make this company happy, so that next time when you sit down, you can have the bargaining muscles with you, and you can be able to start going step by step, improving on your salary, etc. Those are very important things that you really need to understand. But of course, it is also important to be flexible when you are bargaining on your salary. Be flexible and understanding, and know the financial position of this company. That one you would have done that long ago in terms of doing research concerning this particular company. Now, with all that in mind, you are now set to go and take the job. And should you win this position, or should you qualify, should you be the one to be given this job, go and do your best according to your ability, according to your experience, and bring out the best in you, because every job is like a dream job. Do it as if it is the only job you are having at that particular moment. Thank you very, very much for listening to me and for watching this presentation. I have been your mentor and coach, Steve, and do not forget to subscribe and to share this video and to like this video, so that it can reach out to everybody else looking forward to getting a white collar job outside there. And let's meet again in my next presentation as I take you through essential components of job and employers. Thank you very much, and let's meet next.